Hi, gang. All right, laptop is useless.
10.
Hold on. Let me. All right, you two are on right now. Give me a second to set up the screen for
That's
him.
fine.
I'm gonna cut me out of it.
Well, good evening again, everyone. Green Flags Out on the Go Fast podcast, along with Kelly Jeffries, Bipser, Cal Jackson, Corey Peterson, in with us tonight. I'm Ron Hinckley. Welcome to the Go Fast podcast. It's brought to you by 1-800-WATER damage of the Quad Cities. Water, mold, smoke, sewage damage. Call 1-800-WATER damage. We restore what matters most. By Dunright TV and Security, building your smart home from the TV up. And we're the best in Dish TV, Internet, Google Nest, Ring, Aeromesh, Wi-Fi, and all your favorite brands. And by Trackside Promotions. Remember when local racing was rejuvenated? Trackside Promotions did it. Stay tuned for the next Trackside Promotions tracks or event. Our good friend Nick McCready over there.
Give me a second. Our audio is all off because all these camera lights are on. It should be good.
As always, we start with our results and news, and we'll start right off with Team Dunright. Of course, that's Jeremiah Hurst and the late model, Tyler Soppe in the Sport Mod. Jeremiah Hurst, Roberts Motorsports, went down to Federated Auto Parts Raceway at I-55 in Peevely, Missouri last Saturday, along with 58 other late models. Hurst's first race in the super late model, and ended up 7th in his heat, went to a B-main, also finished 7th in the B-main. Billy Moyer ended up winning the dirt car late model feature over Brandon Shepard and Devin Moran. Tyler Soppe made his way down to the Scotland County Speedway, Memphis, Missouri over the weekend. On Friday, made the feature. Saturday did not qualify for the feature, but then everything got rained out anyway on Saturday night. All the features were rained out. On Friday, Michael Long won again in the modified. We saw him right here on Dunright.tv. Pick up the modified win down at Donaldson the week before. Tyler Madigan ended up in 5th on Friday night. David Brandes won in the stock car Friday. Also among the winners were Lance Schill in the sport mod. He beat a couple drivers we get to see a lot, Jason Roth and Gage Neal. Roth was 3rd and Neal was 5th. And some of the tracks in Iowa opened up last weekend. Sports Park Raceway in Fort Dodge, Iowa opened last Friday. Webster City opened on Saturday. A couple familiar drivers up there. Tyler Bruning won the late model feature. Chad Holliday of Muscatine finished 8th. Lyle Klein, our friend up from the Dubuque area, actually from Sherrill, Iowa, finished 9th in that feature. And Webster City also ran USRA classes. Well, tomorrow is a big day in the state of Iowa. Governor Kim Reynolds plans to announce the next steps in easing restrictions. She spoke highly of Eastern Iowa efforts, and so we can just hold our breath, hope guidelines are lifted, and we can get back to some racing in Scott County and surrounding areas. Tracks such as Davenport, West Liberty, Burlington, CJ, and Farley are in counties still with the stricter standards as of now. On the Iowa side and on the Illinois side, everything's still shut down as well, including the bull ring, which we'll talk about with Corey Peterson here in just a little bit. From the world of NASCAR, the Chicago NASCAR weekend has been canceled. It was scheduled for June 18th through the 21st, and there's your news and results as we have them right now, and just a lot to talk about as we get into our Around the Track, Around the Room, powered by Trackside Promotions, and our buddy Nick McCready there. And we just go around the table, racing experiences, and I'll start this weekend. I kept an eye on things down at Memphis, Missouri. A ton of cars. They had over 200 on Friday night, down about 20 on Saturday. Some good racing until the rains came on Saturday night. And so congratulations to all of our local drivers. We didn't get any Sport Compact we didn't give any Sport Compact results, but I know a lot of our local guys were down there. And so congratulations making down there, and a couple made the show as well. So one of those in 3/8 mile, and Michael Long wins his 2nd in 2 weeks. Basically the same type of racetrack. Track had a little bit of character. We'll talk about that as well. Saw a lot of talk about that on Facebook and texts and things along that line. But anyway, and people in the stands. So overall, it was packed in the stands, packed in the pits down at Memphis, Missouri. And Bipster.
Yeah, I was talking with Roy Van Dyne from New Fast Motorsports this morning, and they were out in Pennsylvania actually racing over the weekend. They were in, let's see the name of the track. I had it. It was Dustin Dietrich, a part of that team, picked up his first win, and it was Roaring Knob was the racetrack there in Pennsylvania. We're going to see Roy and Wes this summer at some point, bringing their 4 cylinders, probably 3 or 4 of them all the way from Ohio to kind of hang out with our Sport Compact guys. So excited to see that they already got their first win of the year, and hopefully will be quite a few more from that team.
Excellent. Corey Peterson, what was on your mind with racing this past week?
Well, we were up at the track Saturday doing a little work, and I looked over at Victoria. I'm Alicia. It's
Victoria forever.
And I told her we got to get a race on TV tonight because it's beautiful weather outside. So we made the right call and went with the Dirt on Dirt Peevely show. So that was nice to see Billy Moyer pick up his 841st victory down there. So that was a good show to watch.
Awesome.
But I was wishing it was at the bull ring.
No kidding, huh? Kelly Jeffries, your thoughts on racing from this past week?
Well, I didn't get to be there, so.
Right. Well, nobody
kinda
did.
stunk, but,
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, Maya was down in was it I-55, I guess.
Right.
Yep.
And they got the new car, so it's going to take a minute for them to dial in. But I think I don't know the Tyler did pretty good. I think he made the feature. I don't know. I didn't get to check on that, but
Tyler Madigan, you mean?
Sapi.
Yeah. Oh, Sapi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday night made the feature. Saturday night he did not qualify, but it got rained out anyway.
Right. So, that's all I got. I got to watch it on TV. I learned a lot, man, because I'm starting to watch other streams now, so I can try to get a little bit better, And there's a lot of things that I see that because Dirt on Dirt or Flow, they're good.
Yep.
I love the graphics they had, so I watched it more than just watching the race. I actually watched it trying to figure out how we can get better. So look at that, guys. We got more shit on our plate.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
As it should be, by golly.
I feel like it's rolling this way to the table.
Yeah, right?
Why can't we? Hold on.
No, but we'll get her done. And so there's Around the Track, Around the Room, powered by Trackside Promotions. Our live look one for tonight, and it's our pleasure to have Corey Peterson in the house with us. I tell you what, we wanted to get you in here. We saw some exciting news on Facebook this week. So tell us what's going on.
Well, we were excited too. We finally get to have a few cars on the track to pack in that new dirt that we got. So we've been begging, for a while, promising we'd maintain social distancing and be safe at the racetrack, and there was a way to do it. And so we finally gave the mayor and city council, the mayor, I guess, a plan, and he approved it for us to have, more than 10 people in the pit area and a few limited staff up in the grandstand area. So we're able to do that through reservations. We just changed it from 1 hour to 2 hour sessions today recently. So there's a few spots left for this weekend, and it's just exciting to get some cars out there on the track, even if they're not racing, just to, hear them, see them go around. So.
Hey, I've been at practice where some wild things happen, so it's still,
Absolutely.
it's a big good time.
But and now how is that going to work as far as the practice sessions and how? And I saw on there how they should contact and all that. How should it work?
Sure. So still some time to sign up for a few spots. I just posted those on our PFP Facebook page. So facebook.com/PFP Bullring. And send us a message if you're looking to get in. It was $75 per car, and that gets you the one crew guy in with you. I know it's a little more than a normal practice, but not much is normal right now. So we're trying to make it work for everyone and trying to give everyone a chance to get their car on the track if they've been itching to. So there'll be 5 cars in the pit area. We'll run 3 out there, and then 2 will be waiting in the wings to go. And hopefully it's enough time for people to make adjustments, get back out there, and really get a feel for their car, but also to have some fun and just kick some dirt up.
What kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
Pretty good. A lot of guys, like I said, they've had their cars ready for a while and just can't wait to get out there. But also some guys there are some races going on right now, this weekend too. So we have no problem with guys who want to race and do that part. But there's only a few spots left just for this first weekend, and we know the weather doesn't look too good, so we're not taking any spots for the following weekend just yet. And those will probably might transfer to next weekend if the thunderstorms come in or whatever. So. We got some guys that are excited. I know I'm excited. I'll be up in the flag stand as, just a limited, it's not my full-time job, but I'll be up there just, doing my thing. And so it'll be nice to everybody to get out there and pack that thing in for us.
Definitely. What kind of work is needed on the track before we get to Saturday?
Well, I know Uncle Jeff was up there yesterday working on some billboards, putting them up, making sure we have those all good to go. And we moved them back a little bit, trying to create less of a dust bowl, I guess you'd say. So they're set back about 10 feet and angled to where the dust has a place to exit now. But more importantly, the people who are sitting in the pit stand should be able to see turn 3 because these are moved back now. Yeah. I sat there for 20 years, and never could see cars going into turn 3. But hopefully now that'll be ready for people. We didn't work much on the grandstands because we're not going to need those for a little while. But as far as everything else, we're ready to get some cars out there. That Uncle Jeff has been keeping up with the track maintenance and everything really well. So it looks great. I had a quad runner out there on it, this weekend, trying not to get too fast up near the wall or anything. But no, it's fun. It looks good and ready to go. So we're ready to get some cars out there.
Yeah, one of the big things is building the relationship with the city, obviously with the Fair Board and with the city and that kind of thing. And to get it to this point, that relationship must be going well.
Yeah, it really is. They trust us to, be safe now in that. So, like I said, when I first asked about this at the beginning of April, it was a strict no. It's not essential, and we understood that. We got to be safe and everything. So
really,
it's essential.
It's essential.
Well, and that's what we tried to explain to the Fair Board or the City Council too. Is that we need a distraction. Everybody needs a little something. And the guys who've been cooped up at home doing nothing but working on their cars, this will give them a chance to put it to good use here. So. But yeah, can't say enough about how well the mayor and city administrator for East Moline have been to us. They've been real well. When we first reached out, like I said, they said no, but we didn't take it to heart, and we just kept going with this plan that we made up. We actually gave them a plan for this phase 2 of Governor Pritzker's phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. So potentially racing could return in phase 3. We have to keep checking with the city council, each week though. This is it's not set in stone here, with the dates and everything. So each week everything could change. We all know that. I've changed the schedule 1,000 times, I feel like, but that's okay. Whatever it takes to get this season in, we're willing to do it if the racers are too. Mm-hmm. So this is the first step, and we're happy for it.
Here we might have a good camera shot. Did anybody else hear that?
We did list a limited staff on here, and I think a stream would be part of that. It's be a good distraction for the people at home too. If done right,
a special angle. And
and it's a good
something.
I see
something special that we could use for shooting.
Yes. Awesome. And plus, it'd be good for us to get practice there because with us, as you guys know, on Done Right, we are going to be there on Sunday nights. Which it looks like that's going to be probably the first way people are going to be able to watch from the bull ring this year. Will be through a live stream. So it'll be good for us to be on track and try some things out. And, you might see us be gutsy when it's a free thing like that because we can try things out. But, so you might see. So stay tuned on Done Right Facebook page this weekend. Might see some stuff.
And our friend Jenny Smith pipes in. She says, Corey, I think it was your mama's sweet talking.
Oh, it sure was. I can't say enough for her either. Happy Mother's Day again, Mom. You do so much for PFP. And, your last name's changed because you got married, but you're part of the family and you're a huge part of this. So thank you, Mom. Yeah. Well, she made a call and she we worked it out. She did great. So.
I know the 2 meetings I've been to, I know to go to her first. So.
Yes. And since you started it, Corey, happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah, happy Mother's Day, James.
Love you and thank you for all you do.
Yes, absolutely. Well, good. There's our live look one. And we move now, get some of our clues in for Guess the Driver, brought to you by Done Right TV. We'll take our answers, as always, on the Done Right Facebook page, and then you can stop in to Done Right. You got an extra hour on your sign out there already. I see. It was 10 to 5. Now it says 9 to 5, Kelly.
Yeah, we're opening it up again.
Woohoo! Look at you. Wow. Making the mark in the community. Good job.
And I not only do I need salespeople, I think, or whatever. I need salespeople and installers now. So we're hiring. So if anybody's looking, we're hiring.
Beautiful. And come in to get the app, or is it online? Or
message me, and we have pretty much all positions. So let me know what you're good at, and we'll find something for you.
Sweet. There you have it, folks. If you're looking for a job, and I know a lot of people are. So Kelly's got it right here at Dunright TV, 1414 West Locust Street, or just message him. Phone number is on the Dunright Facebook page. And we get into our Guest the Driver, brought to you by Dunright TV. And people are already asking, have you done Guess the Driver yet? No, we're just starting. But
hang on.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going with a Sport Compact Driver.
Ooh.
This week, and I was impressed because they had 58 Sport Compacts down at Memphis last weekend, and our guys made it through. And I'm going to give you a couple. First of all, he's from Davenport. So Sport Compact Driver, he's from Davenport, and tomorrow he turns 23 years old. So that's the first few clues. And again, Guess the Driver, brought to you by Dunright TV. On the wheel, coming up, our roundtable racing topic, and we just have to, keep talking about where we're at with the COVID-19. I know it gets old and that kind of thing. And Kelly and I were part of a non-racing deal last Saturday that was really, really cool. Just got people out and about and in a park and socializing. And as far as I know, Kelly, nobody's died yet.
No, I don't think so. No.
But
everything's cool so far.
We had a good time, and in fact, got a couple of racing fans there, and that kind of thing. But down in the state of Missouri, they were allowed fans, they were allowed unlimited entries, that kind of thing. And tomorrow's going to be a big day. Keep our fingers crossed for the state of Iowa, everybody. Right?
Yes, big day. I mean, I think we've been watching every day, and I mean, at work, it's kind of our lunch tradition of we usually will start with watching what was said, what updates have been made, and then we'll usually go over to something on the Motor Trend channel to get the motorsports back. But yeah, it'll be a big day, and we're excited around here to hopefully it's sooner than later, and kind of hold our breath, and we're hoping to be smelling the race field with everyone smelling the race field, not just us. There's a lot of race field to smell.
Yeah, true on that. And as we go, no, it's not Thomas Adams. Nice try though. We got a winner. Matt Stein, you got it, buddy.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Matt Stein guessed Sean McDermott. Cameron, you're a little bit late, buddy. Matt Stein, you got it. We'll have a T-shirt for you here at Dunright TV, 1414 West Locust Street. I didn't even get my second set of clues in.
All you said was Sport Compact in Davenport.
And he turns 23 tomorrow.
Maybe that was, you know why? Because everyone on their Facebook, and they went to see who turns 20, whose birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be. And I didn't even look on the Facebook. I got one of my handy dandy little driver media profile sheets.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he's a plumber by trade. Last year he had a Honda Prelude, and of course he races for his brother Ryan and Team Ryan on that. So that will be on the number 4 again this year. And of course his dad races as well. So we'll see them both out on the racetrack this season. But yeah, Sean McDermott is our Guest the Driver this week, brought to you by Dunright TV. Driver of the Week. But just kind of a roundtable, quick discussion on who we believe our driver of the week could be here, could be nationally, whatever you think. And anybody got an initial thought on that?
Well, like I said earlier, Billy Moyer, 841 wins, and he was supposed to be retired, I think, 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Whatever,
and 5 different times, yeah.
But he's still out there showing them how to do it. He's so smooth. That's why they call him Mr. Smooth, and it's just nice to, when we only get one race to watch, it was nice to see an old timer like that still have it.
Well, he's always been he was my favorite late model driver for the longest time, and still is, and a good friend of mine, Bob Lucero, that's his favorite. I had to share that with him on Facebook. Billy Moyer is a good choice, no doubt about it. My driver of the week, I'm going to go. I mean, Moyer was my first thought. I'm going to go with Michael Long. I know he's not he's down in the Quincy, Illinois area, but I tell you what, he comes out and just walks on the field at Donaldson, then turns around Friday night, wins down at Memphis, Missouri again, and we'll see Michael up here. I know he'll be up here if we can get the Summer Nationals race in. He'll come up with the modifieds and that kind of thing. And so, and I know if we get to make our way down south a little bit, we'll see him, Burlington, Donaldson, that kind of thing. So I'll go with Michael Long, 2 wins in 2 weeks.
I think I'm going to go with Timmy Hill. He's been on one of the, with racing, the NASCAR's been doing the iRacing for the last, 10 weeks now or something like that, however this long has been going on. And he kind of came out of the iRacing. It's him and William Byron, where they've come out of doing the iRacing. He did really well. He's one of those drivers that if he was able to get good equipment, I think he'd be very, very dangerous on the track. He just has, it's how it works in NASCAR. If the funding's not there in your team, you're going to be on the struggle bus. But it was kind of fun to see him, and on the iRacing side, everyone's kind of on an equal playing field to see how he was competing against some of the bigger names. Very
good, Timmy Hill. And Kelly, any thoughts on a driver? Nope. Okay. And down at Peevely, of course, Brandon Shepard and Devin Moran were second and third, and Chuck Hobbs chimes in and double duty for the smooth operator, and he's absolutely right. Bobby Pierce drove both a modified and a late model and had decent finishes in both down at I-55. Who's racing again this weekend with 2 nights of the World of Outlaw late models at I-55? So what the heck, you find it where you can. Tech tip, and boy, we are running way ahead of schedule on the format. I like that. It gives us more time to BS at the end, But tech tip, and I wanted to ask Corey this because at Memphis, the track, as the drivers put it nowadays, had a little character to it. And when you start out the night and you look at the racetrack, you may see a couple hot laps, and the track goes from smooth and gets some holes or a little bit rough. What do you look at on the race car, and what kind of changes do you make?
Well, you're definitely going to go through some shocks usually on a track like that. And I don't know. Some people like it when it's like that, because it's honestly a little more grippy, a little more muddy, it seems like, when the track's like that. But, gosh, you might not feel it as much, but your shocks are taking a beating on there. So I know a guy who would, on a track like that, pull all 4 off, check every Heim, ball joint, everything on the car. And that's not a bad idea. I've had it where, a rough track one week and, in the garage you miss something, but the very first lap the next week you break a spindle, you break, a Heim joint, something like that you missed. And so it takes a toll on the cars when the track's like that. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I could tell you from experience that I know when I used to race, I hated it like that. I liked it to be smooth and, but it can't be perfect always. And everybody knows that. But we're not Baja trucks either. So there's a fine line.
When are we bringing them in?
Anytime.
Baja trucks? Anybody?
Side by sides, we got some work there. We got some ideas.
I have a picture at home when I lived out in the Vegas area. I announced out at the short track there in Vegas, which isn't there anymore since they built the bull ring there. But they brought in the off-road trucks, so they have dirt all over this paved track and jumps in the infield. And they actually left the racetrack off of turn 4, went out in the parking lot, and then came back in on the racetrack. So it was kind of a closed course, but it was a little small. It was only a 3/8 mile oval, so they did that. But yeah, the Baja trucks are the side by sides, I guess. Yeah. So you talked about that, and after the races, having to check everything and all that. But what about in between? You go from hot laps to a heat race, and you're already seeing the track change.
Well, when it gets a little like that, I guess there's not much you can do. It's kind of the land of no return. So you just do the best you can. Really, one good thing, you're not going to burn your tires up as much as you are on a slick racetrack. Mm-hmm. So some guys might switch to some of their older tires to save it a little bit, I guess. But there's not much you can do. I mean, there's things set up wise to make it for a tacky track or a slick track, and several different things you could do. But If you're expecting a slick track and you start out with that setup, then you're scrambling, to get back to the setup that's there. But most guys will start with that kind of track condition setup anyway, the hammer down, tacky, whatever you call it. So I don't think anybody sets up for the jumps on a Baja track or anything like that. Like I said, I didn't get to see it, but I've driven on some tracks where, it was considered good enough for Baja. So
For Baja.
Well, and the good drivers are going to make it through no matter what anyway, right?
Absolutely. They know what to do usually. And like I said, there's not much you can do, though, when there's several bumps, but you just hope for the best.
Definitely. A couple other people. Nick Jensen, hey, buddy, glad that you joined us. And he mentions Jeffrey Ledford as his driver of the week. First night ever in a super late model I-55, and he looked good. And Jeffrey is working his way up. I remember when he started in a modified, and his dad Jeff, also still racing. And Brett Sievertson asked, didn't Bluegrass have Baja racing years back? Not when I was out there, but that was 1986. So after that, who knows? Knowing Vern Schumann, anything could have happened.
Every week that I was there, it was
the Baja race.
It was Baja race.
People
Yeah.
selling lawn arm suspension on their late model. Why? I'm going to Bluegrass.
we used to talk about how under the flag stand there was a huge dip. And,
Yes.
And so, you would go through there, and it seemed like almost your car would kick the other direction sometimes, but you could hear the cars, going over that thing. So, that was Baja for sure.
Well, the water always used to come in right there underneath the flag stand under the wall, and you could even see when you got to the racetrack before they put the final coating of water on it. You could see the stream where the water had come in, during the week. So whether it was dew or rain or whatever, but definitely. And other than the track Baja, Brett says, but every weekend was a track Baja at Bluegrass, but loved it. One of my favorite tracks, and that's where I raced, and I'll never forget. I had family in from out of town, and they came out to watch me race, and that's when they were running the enduro rules, so they don't stop the race if you spin out or anything, as long as you're not blocking the track. And I'm starting on the outside about the fourth row, and I had a guy take me out at the green flag, and I go nose into the wall. And then I couldn't get the car started to back up, take off. So just wasted all my family's time, but we had a good time that night. So there's our tech tip, and live look too, and want to talk more about the bull ring coming up, and you talk about the schedule and all that. Where are you? Are you at a back at the drawing board, or you have an idea if and when things get going, or when things get going, and what races and all that?
Yeah, we're trying to plan ahead on that. So, like I said, we have the practice lined up, and I'd set it tentatively to go up until May 31st, and that's when the potentially phase 2 of Governor Pritzker's plan could be ended and start phase 3. So phase 3 allows us to begin racing. Of course, no grandstand spectators, limited crews for drivers, no more than 50 cars in the pit area. What are a few other rules here? Dunright will be doing the pay-per-view for that, so you can still watch it, right?
Okay, back up a second. So no 50 cars in the pit area, but since there's going to be no fans, we can use the parking area too, right? So
for pits?
Yeah.
We could if we spread out that much, but
But it's still only limited to 50?
Yeah, we had it set up to where we, because our pit stands are kind of small too, and we just don't want that many people in a small proximity. And so we are going to allow, like the grandstands, there'll be no spectators there, but the crews can go up to the, the front there and line up all down the front stretch there, and use those stands as well. So there'll be room for the crews to spread out immensely. And that was the plan that we gave them, and it's still not actually been approved for phase 3 too. They might end up reducing that, but we set it at 50 because we figure you could fit 2 of our big classes in. We have 4 big classes, I think, and then 3, that are averaging more like 15. So you could get the 2 each of the big classes, and then another session, a 2-hour session of the 3 support. So we could run all of our classes still in a day on a Sunday, and the only bad thing, the drivers might have to agree to something, a reduced payout, something like that, in order for this to work. So there's going to have to be a date. We haven't decided the date yet, but a drop dead date to where, we say the season's going to go on or the season's not going to go on for points. So IMCA only requires 4 races for a track championship. We don't want it to be that. We'd like it to be more than that. But,
Yeah, that's
but
a little low.
we've examined every available Saturday that our other local tracks aren't racing. We don't want to go against them, but the nights that Davenport and Maquoketa are not racing, we would like to race those days, Fridays and Saturdays. So I had it figured out originally to where if we started, at the end of May, we could still have 15 to 20 points races for our top classes still. So it is doable. Like I said, it's going to take everybody to agree on it though, to do it with no stands, with nobody in the grandstands. It's just hard to, everybody you paying out. So you have to have something to pay out, and we can't go negative doing this. I hate to be like that. We want great racing out there. We want people to see racing. We want it to get going, but we also have to figure out a way to where it's even for everyone. And so we do at least have a tentative plan, a tentative schedule. Like I said, I've changed it 1,000 times, and that's okay. I'll change it again if I have to. We had some open late model shows, though, that are going to be canceled for now, postponed. We had a Mars show that was supposed to be this coming weekend. That one is being moved out to a potential date at the end of August, as well as our June 14th MLRA show is going to have to be moved out as well, probably, because even if we do start racing, we just can't cover the payout that we'd like to give them with no fans in the stands. So that might get pushed until August, and this is all dependent on what Illinois governor does. So it could be all for nothing, but we have a plan if it's for something. So
hopefully he's not still in Florida.
Now, just so we know, like when you say 50 cars, is that 2 different sessions? Like, is one race? Like you do, like session 1 would be 50 cars, do like half your, and then they would all leave, and then session 2 would happen the same night, or is that like one Sunday would be one group of cars, and next Sunday would be the next group?
No, it would be a bit of a long race day, but it would be like 2 to 4 p.m. The street stocks, whatever classes didn't race the night before is what I was going to go for. So to get them early first. Like our street stocks don't race Saturday nights around there that I know of anyway. So a lot of them don't anyway. So 2 classes first, 2 to 4, clear the pits, 4:30 to 6:30. We had it to figure it out to where we'd still get done, by about 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So, but it's just a tentative plan, and it's a hopeful plan anyway. But no, so those 2 classes would be full programs though too. You run the heats straight to the features, bing bang boom, get them out and get the new cars in there and that. So, if we can do it being safe, and the city knows that, and so. Everybody hold hope. We can do this.
That's right. Have you presented that to the city? And the only reason I bring that up is because, and I shared this on Facebook, and this is a track that has struggled anyway, but Upper Iowa Speedway up in Decorah had residents complain because they ran from morning to night practices on Saturday and Sunday, and the residents say, well, yeah, we can put up with racing on Saturday night, but they had cars on the track for 2 straight days. So do you have the support of the city?
We do. We gave them the schedule, the dates, each times, everything. So hopefully it's not too big of an issue, just for the fact that it gets really loud on Sunday nights, but that's when there's 15 to 20 cars at a time on the track, and we're hoping that just a couple cars, it's not as loud. The bull ring has the bowl effect to where it does keep some of the noise in there.
Yeah, it really does.
Yes.
But we know there might be a few phone calls saying, what is this? Why are they allowed to do this when a lot of other businesses are, not out here? But so hopefully the city government has our back on that. We just, we would ask anyone who feels the need to call and complain about that, not to. We're just looking for a little distraction and to get out, and that's what we're going to beg for the city as well.
Chance Houston chimes in. I'm in for whatever. So
thank you, Chance.
And that's, I think that's all of us as well.
Yeah.
We're just ready to get racing. As we take a look, and I don't like calling it the new normal. I do believe at some point we'll get back to where we were. And as fans don't seem to be having an issue as far as getting the pay-per-views or getting with, their favorite driver if they're allowed that thing in the pits, and obviously you guys at Peterson's, you have thought this through.
Yeah, we've been fans forever, and I think it stems from that. Just we've always thought, immediately when something happens at a racetrack, we always approached it from the angle, well, I would have done this, or we never thought it would amount to anything, but now we have to actually apply that stuff and analyze everything, and Victoria will tell you, oh, I did it again, Rob. She'll tell you that I
will never live that down. Never.
I thought about it all day, doing that too. No, that I overanalyze everything. And so, like I said, from the beginning, I've gave them a couple different plans and redone it a few times. And yeah, none of them were perfect, but we keep going with the feedback we get and everything. And we just want to be ready. This is our first year, and we don't want it to be over before it starts. Importantly, is we want it to go through. If it's limited, I'm sorry about that, but we're going to try to do our best to get a season in for everyone, for sure.
Well, Kelly, I know that we've talked a lot, and even what you expressed on this show is that we as the producers of the broadcast and all that, we got to keep, it keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? Got to come up with some new stuff and how to educate and entertain.
Yeah, it's a totally new ball game, and that's, I'm just trying to do the best we can. I think there's a way that this works. I really do, and I know a lot of people don't think so, that you can just do it this one way or the other. But it's worked for 20 years, for 30 years, for a long time in a lot of different sports. That there's a TV presence, that there's a gate presence, there's all that. So. I think there's a way. I just think that we got to figure it out, man. And I think that we get some sponsors in. I think that I just think that there's a way that it works for everybody. I want everybody in the stands too, but sometimes you can't make it, right? And there's no reason that we couldn't be out there putting on a good show. And just like you were saying earlier, Rob, there's a couple different ways you could do it. You could be bouncing back and forth from a couple different races. Especially if we figure out how to do like a monthly charge or something like that, where it's $10 a month or whatever it is, right? So, I think there's a way it works for everybody, hopefully.
Well, and having a doubleheader at the bull ring, wow, how fun would that be?
That'd be a blast. That would be a blast.
It'd be like a day-night doubleheader in baseball, where they play one game and everybody clears out and they come back for another one.
Yeah, pretty much. It'd be a lot of fun. I think it's a way to be able to go back racing and be able to actually provide it, and being able to give people a pay-per-view at home. It's going to be something you can you'd be able to buy the show, start watching Sunday afternoon, you have entertainment for like 6 or 7 hours. Yep. And a 6 or 7 hour show, we've all been to those. It's going to be fun at the end of it just to see how the sanity level of us, we're still trying to, oh my gosh, we're still here. But yeah, I think it's a way to do it. And I think it's a smart way. It's going to be tough for racing. I know there's going to be some complaints of, it's day racing, but it's kind of one of those, we're either doing it or, it's either day racing or no racing. So
what other things are out there, right? There's no other sports out there.
Nada.
So we got to make some adjustments, and you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Right. So we got to do what we got to do.
I feel you, Brett Severson. He says, I'm usually at the track from noon till midnight already, so why not?
Yeah, exactly.
He's a part of that. And speaking of analyzing everything, when we start racing again, too, we're even looking at options for the kitchen to have a curbside pickup on that, because if you love your racetrack hot dogs, we're looking at stuff like that, too. So, whatever it is to keep us afloat, might seem silly, but hey.
Well, it's the perfect solution. I just shared in the chat, it's a race fuel scented candle. So what you can do is you can get that ordered for your house. You can do curbside pickup of the food. Then you can go back home, light the candle, eat the fair food, watch it on TV. You're pretty much there.
Yeah.
You're
set.
Well, and when you come to the track to get your curbside, you get a little bit of a whiff and a little bit
there
of
you go.
You get to hear the race cars a little bit. So, but yeah, that's it's just really strange to discuss it in that limelight. Who would have ever thought we get to this point?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But so looking forward to that, and then as and obviously you've had to look at the officials and the social distancing part and that kind of thing as well.
Yep. We have to make the government happy while staying safe as well. Like I said, we all have opinions on how things should be done, and like I know it's not ideal for practice this weekend, but the drivers are only allowed one person back there with them, and that was to give us as much time as we could, or as much time on the track as they could. But that's not ideal. It's hard to make a lot of changes with just one guy on your crew sometimes, but it's more for us to get a lot of seat time and just go have some fun, I think, instead of test and tune this time around. But we've had to look at, limiting the staff. What can we do? Okay, what do we need? We need someone to let cars on and off the track, and someone to make sure they're not going to wreck. The ambient and, safety would be there too and stuff. So, but then when we get to looking at phase 3 here, when we do race, we're going to have to maybe look at having the announcer sit somewhere else away from the scores, things like that. Like you said, Rob, it is weird to talk about, but we have to talk about all of that stuff, and online payments only instead of cash at the window like you've always done. Maybe electronically signing your waiver when you come in instead of things like that. I never thought we'd have to look at all those options, but we are, and if that's the way it has to be for us to get cars on the track and race, so be it. And we're willing to do it. So.
Well, I'm glad you're advanced to that point where you're still reading and the kids don't have baseball to play yet. And I saw a thing. In fact, I think I shared it on Facebook. A cop in Wisconsin came and stopped a youth baseball practice and that kind of thing. And I noticed in the picture he wasn't social distancing with the coach. But that's another point. But
and they will be watching too.
Yes.
I was talking with Kevin Feller earlier, Makokata promoter, and he's been having practices with social distancing and safely. But he was telling me just be, he's promoted this track before, so he's just be careful, and I appreciate any advice that Kevin gives me as well. So, and when he called me, and we're going to be careful too, not just because of the stream, but all eyes would have been on us anyway. We have to do this safely, and we have to do it correctly. Like I said, everyone has their opinions and how, I can do this, whatever. But, you got to follow the rules if we want to be able to do this for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that you're on that side of the river where, we're all getting the perspective. That's like, dungeon over there. And we feel a little more advantaged on the Iowa side, and we're keeping our fingers crossed for what the governor says tomorrow. So for you to get to that point, Kelly, for them to get to that point where they can get race cars on the track at an Illinois track, I think is amazing.
For sure. And Brett brought something up too. Big screens in a parking lot, so we could do a drive-in.
Yep, what's up?
We have big screens that we could get our hands on too, so that's not too far out.
It's not that far off.
The ideas are flowing.
Man. I mean, we got to do what we got to do, and you're right. I mean, we're going to be the example, just like no different than South Dakota, no different than the park we did. You and I were at this weekend.
Right.
People are going to be out there trying to beat us down, man, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So we got to make sure that we, do what we got to do and protect the sport, because everybody's going to be looking at it. There's nothing else going on. There's no more baseball. There might be soon, but it's not going to be different for any of them either, right? Because their eyes are going to be on whatever we're doing. They're going to be on. They're going to be looking at it. So we got to make sure that. But at least we're trying. We got to try new things, and we got to. We got to do what we got to do, right? I mean, and the start usually is what stops most people. So just getting started, if it's not everybody's choice and it's not the way everybody wants it, it's a start, So that's the way that's the way I'm looking at it is, every move forward is better than nothing.
Well, it's a different learning curve here. I mean, we're learning how to do this, and we don't want at just at the first the first sight, I guess, of somebody saying, shaking their finger. We still want to be back to be able to do it again. And again, first thing that comes to
we have a visitor.
First thing that comes to my mind again is building the relationships, and so you got to build the relationships with the people on the outside.
Yeah, we're learning that very quickly too. That we don't want to burn any bridges, rub anybody the wrong way, whatever cliche you want to use. But we really want a good working relationship with the city. We want to be here for a lot of years, and so we're going to do whatever they ask. And we are very grateful that they're allowing cars on the track. We've all wanted them out there. We've been ready since, we'll have to ask Uncle Jeff, but at least probably the beginning of April. So I think we're ready to go, and we're very grateful to be able to do it, and let's not spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing, and I figured this out when I first moved back here a couple of years ago, and 2018 went over, and this kind of changing the subject a little bit, but when did they change the entrance on turn one? It used to go. That used to be your entrance into the pits on turn one.
Was it in turn one?
Yeah.
I would have to say at least after my earliest memories in '89, maybe.
Wow.
Was it that old? Because no, I don't ever remember it being over there.
Really?
But I remember it was there. And Jim Peterson Jr. used to have a number 28 modified, and I remember the picture. Everybody used to take their pictures down in there, behind turns 1 and 2. So I think I remember seeing it over there maybe, but I couldn't tell you that. Actually, I'll have to ask my uncles on the history part there.
Yeah, I started going over there when probably when I was 10, so early 70s, something like that, and then we'd be there on Sunday nights, obviously, and had friends racing, that kind of thing. But yeah, the entrance to the pit off the track, or the exit from the track into the pits, was turn 1, and then you came out on turn 3 where it is now. It wasn't a two-way street. So I was just curious.
If my mom's still watching, she might be able to answer that for us.
Right. Yeah, if anybody out there knows, I was just curious, because 1986, when I left the Quad Cities, it was still turn 1 to go in, and turn 3 to come out onto the racetrack. So I was just curious. But how do you think that works, the two-way on turn 3?
Not as well as having a separate entrance, but you also there's only a few points on a racetrack that are basically unavoidable during racing. I mean, none of them are unavoidable, but the best chance of never having a car go there. So, but I remember, speaking of bluegrass earlier, that a lot of cars that flew off the track and into the ravine off of turn 1, because that's where the exit was. When a car bumps them and they're out of control that way, or throttle sticks, whatever. But so it is a little safer, I think, to have it where it is. The corner rounds off to where no one should ever really be facing that way with a full throttle. But that's one advantage. But as far as efficiency, it slows us down. It's a one way. You got to stop the cars to bring them on, and it adds a few minutes to each race. It might not seem like a lot, but at the end of the night, it adds up. But I don't see any way we could do anything more about that without having another spot in turn 4 or something. So not possible, really, but unfortunately we're stuck with that. But hey, we've got good shoot guys, though, and good guys on the race receiver that can get that done quickly for us. And the scales aren't going to be in the infield anymore, so that won't be log jamming the entryway onto the track either.
Well, and I think that should really speed things up, because instead of having to not only have cars sit there and wait, everyone will be able to get off the track as soon as the race is over, instead of like half the field and the other half's waiting, and ends up being, so then it's like, oh, it's a caution, so now a car tries to jump across, and not exactly, and so it'll.
Well, there's really nothing else that you can do. I mean, when we were up at racetrack in South Dakota at Raceway Park, they had the same situation, and it was turn 4. That cars had to come on the track and off the track, both at turn 4. But they, I don't think they did for the heat races, but for the features, they pulled the next feature down into the infield. Okay. However, there was a wall surrounding the backstretch, and so that's where they pulled up. So that's how that worked out. Jeff Peterson says back when Tolan put the wall in, that's when. Yeah, so that back in the Bobby Tolan days. All right, so that was right after I left the area. So interesting stuff. Well, I can't wait. That's always been one of my favorite tracks as well. just to hear those race cars, and you probably already know, and you kind of mentioned it before. Some are going to be off racing elsewhere and that kind of thing. But there's a lot of difference to the bull ring compared to some of the other tracks. So there's going to be teams that want to get dialed in.
Yeah, it is different. It's I believe on the broadcast one that I did with you. Thank you again for that. That was so much fun.
We had a blast
sometime.
Definitely.
But I kept mentioning how black that dirt was down there, and it's the stuff we have at the bull ring is definitely different, for better or worse. It's more of a clay. We did throw some dirt down, some good dirt down that'll mix in well with it, but our surface is always different. I remember I could never figure out Davenport Speedway's setup because my home track was over here in East Moline, so when I would venture over, I thought I was good enough to drive it, but I just couldn't figure it out. I had some good nights there, but it is a major change for anyone who doesn't expect it. Might burn your tires up a little more over at the bull ring. So testing is kind of important here, and get as much practice as you can. But not for some of the guys who've been doing it for years at the bull ring. They don't need to test as much. They know it, but. It's the track has some character in a different way. So it's some guys might opt for the test and tune session, especially if they haven't raced yet. To jump into a field like that down in Donaldson with a lot of cars might be scary for some guys. So come on out and get some practice for sure.
Well, after race cars comes food. So are you going to be able to have food in the pits?
Our licenses are good, so we thought about inviting a truck in there, to let a business that hasn't done well or something like that, do that for us. But if Mom wants to, and maybe we will. But actually, for the practices right now, we'll probably have to say no. Actually, I'm looking at this list that I gave them, and that's not on there. So.
No food. Sorry,
not this weekend.
But there might be able to be a retail, a food truck or something out front do that if that's allowed in Illinois. I don't even know.
Yeah, Burger King's right across the street, so and everything all up and down the avenue of the cities there. So, but yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait to see some race cars on the track. And last time I looked at the weather, it looks pretty favorable.
Oh, does it now? Good, because when I looked yesterday, it was thunderstorms. But I normally don't pay attention to the weather at all, and then until racing season starts here. So,
well, when it's not racing, it's snowing. So, race or snow. But
I hope it is, and that's good. I can't wait to get out there.
Good deal.
That's so good.
Our live look too. Again, talking about the bull ring, Rock Island County Fairgrounds, and can they still get a hold of you as far as getting a spot?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't checked it since I've been in here, but I know there was 5 spots for Saturday still open, and 3 or 4 for Sunday. So yeah, anyone who wants to get on those, feel free to message me on Facebook Messenger, text me. Check out that post that I put up yesterday. It's got all the rules and restrictions and everything. The times, like I said, they did change. We started out yesterday. We thought we were going to have 1,000 guys wanting to do it. But for 1 hour, that's not really that much. So let's boost it up a little bit for the guys and give them 2 hours at least. So hopefully that makes guys want to do it a little more, and let's fill it up.
Excellent. So that's Corey Peterson. Get with him on Facebook. Shoot him a message, or shoot him a message on the Bull Ring Peterson Family Promotion Facebook page, and he'll get you a slot for Saturday or Sunday as we start winding down this edition of the Go Fast podcast, taking a look at local birthdays in the racing community. And today, in fact, Donnie Pataska, happy birthday, buddy, to Donnie. Chuck Hobbs, happy birthday. And we're still going to have you on the show here at some point. Brandon Jewell also celebrating a birthday this week, along with my buddy Brad Cook, who we had on the show here a few weeks ago. Rob Harding Sr. has a birthday. Walt King. And also Thomas Adams, who made the trip down to Memphis this past week with his 4-cylinder, also with a birthday this past week. From the racing world, sprint car, the legendary Kinzer family. Mark Kinzer had a birthday. Kevin Gundaker, 65 years old, former late model driver, and is now the promoter down at, of course, down at Granite City, Illinois. Tri-City Speedway, been down there for a while. He's got both of his kids racing. The legendary Buzzy Rudeman, wow, 79 years old, and he's still driving. Still drives a modified down in Florida. The Rudemans, of course, they are the founders of Beak Built Race Cars. And David, of course, raced in NASCAR. Buzzy, of course, cut his teeth on the Northeast Modifieds. They lived in Florida, and Buzzy's still driving the number 00 Modified every once in a while. The late Dave Steele, the sprint car driver who was killed in a racing accident a few years back. He was born this week in 1974. Sprint car and NASCAR driver Thomas Mesereau. Tanner Thorson, also from the USAC ranks. Bobby Labonte had a birthday this week, as well as Tim Fedewa. Helio Castroneves also celebrated a birthday this week. Tim Flock, born this week in 1924, and Butch Hartman, the legendary Butch Hartman, born this date in 1940. And I had one more if I can find it. Oh, yeah, Will Kimmel from the Racing Kimmels, the ARCA Racing Series. And Sonny Helms, formerly from Carlisle, Iowa. He did a lot of racing, open-wheeled, drove super modifieds, and he was killed, in fact, at the Bloomfield racetrack, the Davis County Fairgrounds, back in 1964. Sonny Helms, born this date in 1927. So there's some birthdays around the racing world. As far as the schedule coming up, as we told you, Lee County Speedway racing this Saturday and Sunday down in Donaldson. On Friday night, it will be modified sport mods and sport compacts. Saturday nights, the 305 sprint cars, late models, and the stock cars. Boone Speedway opens up this Saturday. Also, Hamilton County Speedway will race for the second time, and we gave you a few of those results. So Boone and Webster City both racing on Saturday. Team Dunright, Jeremiah Hurst was scheduled for the Lucas Oil event down in Wheatland, Missouri. That has already been postponed or canceled. So as far as I know, Roberts Motorsports at home this weekend. Is that right, Kelly?
I think they're thinking about doing the Outlaw race.
Outlaw at Peevely?
Yeah.
But there's a chance of rain, and it's an awful long trip to get down there. We may be doing something Friday and Saturday too, and we won't get too much into that because there's nothing concrete yet. But there may be a couple shows Friday and Saturday that we might be involved in as well.
Right on, I like that. And by the way, Tyler Soppe heading to Donaldson. Last I heard, heading to Donaldson on Friday and then going to Boone on Saturday. So nice. Defending national champion going to the home of the Super Nationals on Saturday. Well, that'll be exciting.
Who's
so stay tuned.
That one, do you know?
That's
be
51, right?
Actually, let's see. Well, I know Donaldson is Speed Shift.
Yeah.
Boone XR, maybe. It could be.
I bet it is. Yeah.
It could be for now.
Also, I just saw that IMCA is going to postpone their late model tire rule. They were going to do a siping rule this year. They're going to postpone it until 2021. Just came up. So, late model drivers out there, if you still already your tires ready, because they figured it was going to go in effect in June 1st. So they're going to postpone it the whole year, so that way they can, once they go racing, they're not worried about that. Right.
And Brett Sievertson says IMCA TV. Yeah, we know we were going with the next step down or the next step up. Who's over? Speed Sport has a deal now with IMCA, which we talked about. They're taking over the IMCA TV, which is great, and we just love working with the people at Speed Sport, and they're a lot of help. Good people to work with, Kelly.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. I don't know, from just the 3 or 4 pay-per-view things that we've done, I've learned so much, and it's so great to have some coaching and stuff behind us with 10, 11 years experience, and the guys are top notch. I mean, everybody that I've met in the whole organization at Speed Sport, everybody, just from PRI with you and I, and we've helped Ryan and Advantage in South Dakota, and it's awesome. Great people, and it's great to have the support, especially when
we need it.
We're absolutely.
I think at the last show, before we were getting ready, we were getting coached on some stuff, and they said, "Now you boys jump into things a little bit deeper than normal people do, so that's why I'm being this way."
Well, and he's right, because they do ride us pretty hard, but. But we're not really scared of much. But no. I'll tell you what, from where he started, because last year before we did our first paper, we were trying to figure out how to do it on a private
Oh
on private
gosh.
Facebook.
Oh, I remember
But
that day.
the help coming from Speed Sport is not just the streaming part. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the website. It's the personal coaching from from people that know what they're doing. It's coaching and from even the other people involved in it, other tracks, other organizations that have been helping us, and the back end office as far as the support and stuff like that. And I'm going to say that now because when we do the pay-per-view, I mean, if there is an issue, guys, on the pay-per-view site, there is support. Rob, I can't do a whole lot when people, and I get it. I'm trying to do everything we can, but when people are messaging me and texting me or Rob or Kyle when we're trying to set up, if there's an issue, the support is on the site.
Yep.
So please use that support because there is a guy standing by to help you, and the guy that's standing by has what in front of him. He has what you're using to stream. He can see what your bandwidth is, what you're using as far as internet. So if there's an issue getting the stream, he can adjust it there and give you a little bit different feed to make so that your internet can handle it. So the support is there, and believe me, we would help you. But when we're scrambling trying to get the thing on, and their phones are blowing up, man, I mean, there's just not a whole lot we can do on site. That's why another reason why Speed Sport is amazing. For that, that the support is there, and if you can't get it, if you can't get through, it's hard to believe that you can't because I mean it's you send an email and there's a guy waiting for it. So if you don't know, I don't know, like I said, depending on how many, if it's 6 or 7 races, but if there is an issue, that's the best way to get some support is to go to go to the doneright.tv help and then support, and then it's going to ask you for an email. It does say, that it might be 24 hours to return, but it's probably not going to be like that because, like I said,
they're monitoring.
We have a guy watching, our stream and whoever else is running that night. They're watching that stuff. So
and the IMCA deal we were talking about, it's a really cool program, and it's kind of what Speed Sport's done with us. So if you're a promoter and maybe you're not close enough that you're going to be talking to us, or you're running a show the same night as us, there's actually a contact form on there to get in touch with what's going to be kind of the new IMCA TV as part of Speed Sport, because what they're kind of wanting to do is kind of set up and brand help tracks, because we know that pay-per-view is going to be kind of the way that things are probably going to work for a while. And so now is a perfect time to get involved in that. So if you're a track promoter and you're kind of watching this and you're going, I want to see what that's like, that's a really great way. Like I said, we're a part of that team, and so it's kind of becoming part of the team with us. But it really does help. And like I said, from our first show to every show we've done has been absolutely amazing working with Speed Sport. So if you're anywhere in the nation, that there's affiliates all over. We met guys from the Carolina areas down south. We got PJ out in Oregon that does a lot of racing. So.
Right, and that's a great point, Kyle, because we've had this conversation with a few different promoters. There's a lot of different people that will come out and do a race for you. Okay, there's no doubt about that. They'll come in, they'll give you guaranteed money, whatever, and then they're gone. Right, that's not what our business model is. Our business model is to work on a relationship with the track, with the promoter, with Speed Sport, to build that relationship to help you brand your track. Help you, just like we can still brand Done Right TV. We don't have to brand Speed. Speed Sport is part of us. So going forward, that's our plan is to work on a relationship and not just come in there and give you one show and then peace out. Let us know if we can help you again. We're in it to win it, man. We're in it to stay, and we're in it to build the relationship. So so maybe someday the track can do it on its own, and we can just help them with it, kind of like Speed Sport is doing with
us. Yeah,
exactly.
We got great mentors, and then they teach us how to mentor the other racetracks. So and that's the future right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been talking to a lot of people about the way it's all working, and eventually, guys, once we have, and you guys understand this, once we have some content, then we're going to be able to have like some sort of a subscription where you could get, just like Dirt on Dirt, just like any of the other ones, or you can pay for whatever the subscription is, and then you can watch all the on-demand stuff, or there'll be a different price to watch the live stuff as well. And again, we could do that with different things. Not trying to confuse anybody, but the big thing that I want to get out there is that we're in it to build a relationship with the promoter, with the track, and with Speed Sport. So we have national and local, and that's 3.
Right.
Power of 3.
When we talk about this, I mean, you and I talk about it every day, Kelly. But as far as personnel, we're looking at doubling, maybe even tripling up on certain race dates. So anybody that, I think the number one reason or the number one aspect is that you got to like racing. But number two, you got to be trainable. And number three, you got to like, and not everybody can be a cameraman. Not everybody can be an announcer. But if you want to be part of this team, we're going places, and Speed Sport TV is going places, and these tracks are going places. If you want to be part of that, just message Kelly, or you message me, or Bibster, and we'll get you hooked up with our team. We got a lot of races coming up, and not everybody's going to always be available. We need, and it's not even a first string, second string thing. We need team A1, A2, and A3.
Yeah, because we're already running into that right now. This weekend, one of our partners is kind of double booked, and we've got it kind of set up like that too, where we've got a couple situations coming up here that we may be double booked. So it's a real issue, and we're not. It's not an A and B. It's an A and A.
Yep.
And we're going to do the best that we can. So yeah, again, the videographer would be great. We don't really have but again, I'm not trying to pinpoint one position that we're looking for, because really
we need everything.
Honestly, we've got holes to fill everywhere. So I would rather have a conversation with somebody that's wanting to work and figure out what you want to do or what they want to do, and let me try to place you, because it's going to be a whole lot easier to get along and to grow if that person is doing what they want to do. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to be a cameraman, I'm not going to, we need a cameraman. But I'm not, it just doesn't make any sense to me to try to put somebody in a position that really doesn't like it just to fill a gap. I don't want to. We got plenty of gaps. Mm-hmm. We've got plenty of holes actually that we could fill. So again, if anybody's looking for some work, and even with my retail stuff, we've got holes there too, and there's no reason you couldn't have your own store if you wanted, or your own team, whatever, because we're not stopping, we're not slowing down. We're going to continue to do this, and as far as I'm concerned, we're going to show everybody that you can do it, that you can bring people into the stands, you can do it on TV, and everybody can win, and that's my plan, that's my goal.
Yep.
And I'll shut up.
I agree. No, don't shut up. We need that. No. We need that. And we hit the final lap of this Go Fast podcast. And Corey, thanks for coming in. I know it was short notice, but as soon as you guys put that on there that you were practicing, we wanted to get the lowdown on that baby. So that's great.
Good. And we're more than happy to be working with Done Right too. So thank you, Kelly, Rob, Kyle, for everything you guys are going to do for us. I know my uncles are really excited, and quite frankly, the way things are right now, we couldn't do it without you. So really happy to have you on board and be a part of it. And that all sounded great, Kelly, by the way. It did. Anytime.
And we may have a solution for food at East Moline. Rudy's Tacos, a proud supporter of the Bull Ring at the Rock Island County Fairgrounds this year.
They've always been great supporters. I meant to mention this the last time I was here. I am the Taco King, by the way.
Ooh, yeah.
I ate 21 tacos in 2 different contests, and I think they ended the contest after I won those. So
it bankrupted one of the Rudies.
That's great, and we appreciate everybody's feedback, and someone even sent feedback on our camera work and all that. Believe me, we're getting better, and we're practicing before each and every time. So we do appreciate that feedback. It does mean more than you know. So anyway, check your flags out on this edition of Done Right TV's Go Fast podcast. We'll be back here next Monday, and keep an eye on Done Right TV Facebook page for maybe some special announcements here in the next couple days, and we'll hopefully see you at the racetrack. So for Corey Peterson, Kelly Jeffries, Kyle Jackson, I'm Rob Hinckley. We will talk to you at the earliest or at the latest next Monday, maybe before then. So God bless and good night.